Wow, so many of you, even though we have really nice weather today. So I really, really appreciate that you're here. Thank you so much. Welcome to Master Working from Home Part 2, the exercises for body and mind. I'm really glad that you're here today. We're recording the webinar in the same way as we did the last recording, which was about food. So if you haven't been here for the first webinar, you can watch the replay of the webinar about foods and nutrients, which support your brain in the same way like you can watch the recording for this one. If you have any questions whilst I'm talking, please put them in the chat box. The lovely Leslie is here and let us know about all the details afterwards. We have lots of time afterwards to discuss any questions you have, which I can help you with in a brief way. Everything else we can discuss afterwards. Okay, so I know a lot of you, but for anybody who is here new, I'm Carola Becker, nutritionist and fitness instructor. I'm here to help you think sharper, feel better, and live healthier. No preaching, I promise. I just hope to make science work for you, okay? Besides working with private clients and help them making important changes to their mental and physical fitness, I work with companies delivering webinars like this one to support teams and entire workforces to live well, focus better, and have more energy during their busy days at work. Last but not least, I run well-being retreats all over the world and create online courses around specific topics so you can dive deep and learn at your own pace. Okay, what are we talking about today? Today, I'm wearing my exercise hat. It's all about physical and mental exercises and activities to help your brain being clearer, more relaxed, and more positive after all. We will look into how physical exercise can support your brain productivity. The intensity and the frequency of your exercise will play a role too. I will share mind gym exercises, which will help you forming habits that last, and certain activities that help improving your sleep. Again, timings play a role in this. Last but not least, we cover happy hormones and how you can increase them. And when we're talking about the hormones, we're briefly touching about the nutrients again, because they play a role together with exercise. Let's get started. Okay, it's no surprise that over the last 12 months, many things have changed. And whilst sometimes you may feel out of control, there's a lot you can do yourself to help your physical and mental well-being, and of course, your brain working better. We all know that moving our body is good for us. You don't really need to attend my webinar to learn about that. Evidence keeps mounting that exercise is not only good for your body, but also good for your brain. It helps your concentration, and it can also lower your risk of developing Alzheimer's and may even slow down the aging process in your brain by about 10 years. I think this is pretty amazing. And studies have been particularly looking at the link between exercise and cognitive abilities. And they found that aerobic exercise, that's the poll we have just been, where you have just been kindly voting for, the type of exercise you can do for a longer period of time with a slightly lower heart rate. Like we said, brisk walking or running, swimming, cycling, rowing, and the fit steps exercise, which we've just learned, they improve your cognitive function, which is fantastic. I think you can having so much fun doing something plus supporting your brain at the same time. Ultimately, researchers concluded that about 45 minutes of moderate to vigorous exercise was good for the brain, and because these increase blood flow into your brain, and this blood flow transports oxygen as well as nutrients at the same time, which is brilliant. And not only that, aerobic exercise can actually repair damaged brain cells. Ooh, really cool stuff. So lots of great reasons to find 45 minutes every 2 or 3 days and be active. We talk about the timings in a minute. I think it's super important to note that the so-called anaerobic exercises, those are the exercises which are seriously high intensity, like sprinting, CrossFit, playing squash, playing football, all the things where you really have to create a lot of energy in a short period of time. All the high intensity stuff is really, really good for your body. But the effect of exercise with a lower intensity is better for your brain. So I would simply suggest alternating between the two. Aerobic exercises do not only help your thought processes and focus, they reduce the risk of getting a heart attack or stroke as well. So basically, everything you do which is good for your heart is good for your brain at the same time. So when you, I don't know if we have anybody on here today who is living close to the sea. Sea swimming has particular benefits because most of the time, especially here in the UK, the water is flipping cold, which means the cold water has a massive impact on the increased blood flow, which then have the positive reaction onto your brain by creating those, by transporting the nutrients and the oxygen into your brain. Even better news, there's almost no risk associated with aerobic exercises. When we're looking at anaerobic exercises, the sprinting and the high intensity exercises, there is a higher risk of injuries. And if you do it when you're not really prepared for it, so if you're not really fit enough to do them, there is a higher risk involved with those. But with aerobic exercises, there's literally no risk involved. Depending on your current activity levels, you may want to start slowly, but increase the time regularly and challenge yourself a little bit. I noticed that lots of you put walking into the aerobic exercises. In general, there's nothing wrong with walking, and even doing a little bit is better than nothing. But you have to bear in mind that walking is, for most of us, not really a challenge. So you have to do a brisk walk to get your heart rate up at least a little bit. If you're working with a heart rate monitor, just try and increase it at least to 120 beats per minute. So you get most of the benefits from it. And if you have a little bit of a more strenuous exercise, like cycling or rowing or running, that would be even better. So it's about challenging yourself a little bit. Walking is fine, but to get more benefit, you should challenge yourself a little bit. Moving your body will help you sleep too. If you prefer to exercise in the evenings, you may notice that it takes a little bit of time for your body to calm down, especially if you're doing high intensity exercises. As always, everybody is different, but if you feel like you can't go to sleep directly after exercising, try to exercise directly after work to give your body a little bit of time to relax before you go to sleep. Studies found that low intensity exercises, like things like Pilates, yoga, in the evening can support sleep quality as well as sleep quantity. So if you can, you may benefit from doing more strenuous exercises earlier in the day and something soothing in the evening. Ooh. Our next topic is the mind. There's lots of ideas how you can support your mind, but today I'll pick out one. And I like to talk about journaling. For me, it's one of the most powerful tools to clarify your thinking and achieving what you like to achieve. Maybe you know exactly what you want to achieve, but you just can't seem to get there. Some days it seems to be more realistic to give up entirely. Then there is a need for one powerful keystone habit which tightly locks all your other habits in place. I've seen it time and time again in my work with clients. A person might start by eating better. Yes, of course, because I'm a nutritionist and that's mostly part of my story. And then they're beginning exercising, maybe once a week, maybe twice a week. Oh, and then he's being more productive at work. He begins drinking less and showing more patience with his colleagues and his family. He feels less stressed and he has increased motivation towards his goals. And this ingrained pattern in his brain, he becomes an entirely different person. And all because he started with one habit. And if you acquire one of these habits, everything in your life can change. And that's why I like to take out journaling out of this. Journaling accelerates your ability to manifest your goals. You can use your journal simply to review your daily to-do list. But not only that, review your life vision, your big picture goals. As you read and rewrite your goals on a daily basis, they will become forged into your subconscious mind. So how do you make it work? Even if you're not a morning person, I would suggest a morning session for writing. 10 minutes will do. This is not about hours of writing stuff. And most importantly, do it before you look at the news, before you look at social media, and before you look at your emails. Make a cup of tea or coffee, sit down and write in silence. If you are an early morning exerciser, I would suggest writing directly afterwards. Here are a few things that can be helpful to focus your writing, and I invite you to have a go. Start with gratitude and appreciation. Big and small, the things and people who matter to you. Write about how far you've come, your achievements. Write about your big picture dreams. These could be framed as your big life vision, or maybe only the goals for the next 3 months. It's down to you. It's your journal. Nobody will ever read it. It's only for you. Be radically honest about what's going on in your world. And most importantly, write down the key changes you need to make to achieve those goals you're having. Start daily, 10 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening. Then move on, and if you want to, you can add in weekly sessions where you simply review the week and plan the next week. Weekly planning sessions are essentially an expanded version of your morning journal ritual. Can I just have in the chat box a few people telling me, is that an idea where you think, oh, I think I can do that? Or you're saying, this is not for me. And we'll go through that afterwards. Because now we're talking about your happy hormones. We're looking at, oh, why is the poll coming up again? Oops, I'll put the poll out of the way. Sorry about that. Happy hormones, serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin, and endorphins. These guys play a big role in how we feel on a day-to-day basis. You can do a lot to help your body and brain producing or increasing these hormones, which I think is just very comforting to know that this is not out of your control. You can really control this. So besides activity and exercise, we quickly touch on nutrition again, as I said, because a few of them benefit from certain foods. Let's start with serotonin. Serotonin is crucial to your sleep. It regulates your appetite and is involved in your digestion. Most importantly for our topic today, obviously, it stabilizes your brain by supporting your ability to learn. So whenever you think you can't concentrate and you can't get anywhere and you have this big PDF document you need to go through and you won't get anywhere, this is maybe because your serotonin levels are low. And if you're low on serotonin, you feel more stressed and your sleep may be interrupted. Serotonin, interestingly, is being produced by your gut bacteria. It's not being produced in the brain. It's made from an amino acid called tryptophan. And our body can't produce tryptophan itself. You need to consume it. You can find tryptophan in nuts and red meat. If we have any vegetarians or vegans on the call today, you may want to reach out for pineapple. And sadly, this is pretty much the only non-animal food that increases your serotonin. Other foods are salmon, eggs, and turkey. Suitable for our topic today is the fact that regular exercise, meditation, and exposure to daylight, especially on a sunny day like today, are great ways to help your serotonin. So if we have any vegans on the call, besides eating fresh pineapple, increase your daylight and make sure that you're exercising regularly. Next one on the list is dopamine. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that is involved in our perception of pleasure and interest. Dopamine is the one which is made in the brain, and it affects your motivation, your way of learning, again, your mood and your sleep and your attention span. So again, if 20 minutes into this webinar, you're thinking, ooh, can't really listen to that. Okay, that could be that because it's very boring what I'm telling you, but it could be that your dopamine is low. You can help your body increasing its dopamine levels by following a few easy steps. Again, nutrition comes into reduce your intake of saturated fat. There are a number of studies suggesting that you support your dopamine levels by eating less fat from animal sources. And we're talking not only meat, but dairy and especially cheese. I'm sorry, I know we have lots of people on the call who really like cheese, me included. But the saturated fat, especially in dairy, can have an impact on dopamine production. But even for the vegetarians and vegans on the call, foods that are made with or from coconut or palm oil, those are the two oils which are very high in saturated fat, and vegans probably eat quite a lot of that. So that can increase. A probiotic supplement can help increasing your dopamine because it is involved in the communication between your gut and your brain. Increasing your protein intake is a very powerful helper for dopamine as well as serotonin. Both are made from amino acids, the building blocks of protein. So eating more protein-rich foods can help you boosting your levels. That would be eggs, pulses, obviously lean meat and fish, but also nuts and seeds. Again, exercise is an easy way to increase your dopamine. And it's good to know that all forms of exercise, especially the gentle forms of exercise like yoga or Tai Chi, as well as the strenuous ones like running and weightlifting or playing football, increase your levels in the same way. Another one which is really nice, and I just obviously like that, is listen to music. Now that's something unexpected, isn't it? Several studies have found that listening to relaxing music with positive lyrics can increase your dopamine levels, which is fantastic because we're listening to music, hopefully, quite a lot. But if you really find something that has an uplifting lyric, that will help your dopamine. Meditation is another one of those evergreen topics for me. Meditation has loads of mental and physical health benefits. One of them is being an increase of your dopamine levels. And similar to exercise, the more you do it, the better you will feel. Let's go on to oxytocin. You may have heard about it as the cuddle hormone, which I find quite cute. This is because oxytocin is involved in social bonding and reproduction. So it's always around when a lot of emotions, positive emotions, are at play. Oxytocin is a hormone which is being produced in the brain. It's indeed elevated when you are in love, but it's also part of the big three together with serotonin and dopamine, and play a role in mental stability and stress reduction and the ability to relax. In comparison to dopamine and serotonin, it's more linked to activities. So if you would like to increase your oxytocin, cook for someone. Of course, sharing food is always a great experience, but the fact that you're doing something nice for somebody else increases your oxytocin. Regular yoga practice can increase your oxytocin production. Meditation, again, daily would be best. And having a cuddle. As the name cuddle hormone would suggest, cuddle with your partner, your children, or your pet, or your puppy, David. Cuddle the puppy, which I think you would do anyway. Last but not least, endorphins. Endorphins are neurochemicals. They are released when you exercise, and they will reduce your stress levels significantly. This is why when we're talking about stress, we're always talking first thing about exercise, just to get all those negative emotions out of your system. Major research has shown that endorphins can actually treat insomnia. So you can create and release your endorphins when you meditate, when you are creative, when you laugh, or simply when you dance around the kitchen. And I've saved the best for last. Eating a few pieces of dark chocolate, minimum 70%, please, is a yummy way to release some endorphins. I hope this made your day, because I normally always talk about the super healthy stuff, but dark chocolate is actually a really good way. Okay, as a recap, aerobic exercises like running and cycling will help your brain being calmer, less stressed, and more focused. Plus, you reduce the risk of developing cardiovascular disease and even conditions like Alzheimer's and dementia. Lots of reasons to get active. But if you would like to look after your heart and your brain, keep your heart rate a little bit lower and keep the intensity for a little bit longer. If you struggle with your sleep, exercise earlier in the day and try something soothing like yoga or Pilates in the evening. Give journaling a go to manifest your goals into your subconscious mind. Create it as a first habit that locks other habits in place. 10 to 15 minutes a day is perfectly fine, and handwriting is more powerful than typing on a keyboard. And don't give up too quickly. That's one of the things I forgot about journaling earlier. It's one of those things that needs a little bit of time to become an automatic reaction. Just stick with it. 10 minutes every day will do, and then you go from there. The happy hormones that will help your brain, you can support them by eating protein-rich foods. Replace saturated fats with the healthier fats in nuts, avocado, and seeds. Try yoga or meditation. And last but not least, don't forget to cuddle someone or something. There are a lot more strategies. I appreciate that I promised you that I will only talk for half an hour today, and we got enough time for cuddles, no, for questions, sorry. And because there's so much more to say, which will keep your brain healthy and full of energy. If you want to dive deeper into the topic and take serious steps to support your brain for good, please have a look at my online course. I will cover all the nutrients as well as exercise and mindset in this course. You will get the full list of nutrients, a new recipe book, and of course, lots of ideas how you can incorporate a healthy lifestyle to help your brain performing better and being happier. Covering the best exercises and activities for your body and brain, show you more mind gym exercises to help you form new habits and make those healthy changes for good. The course is called Boost Your Mental Health and Wellbeing. And as a thank you for being here today, I can offer you 20% discount if you enter a code at checkout. I'll put all the details in the chat box. And that's it from me, 60 and 34. I stuck to my 30 minutes. And I think Leslie was kindly looking at a few questions. So please, Leslie, unmute yourself and help me with some questions.
There's been a lot of chat about the puppy.
We had a question about meditation.
Do we have a question about the...
We had it with some questions about journaling. Actually, there's a lot of commentary about journaling. So
Okay.
if you had any suggestions for books that people might be able to reference to get them started, I don't know if you've recommendations.
Not necessarily a book, but on the website medium.com, there is an author. He is called Benjamin Hardy. So this is medium.com, and his name is Benjamin Hardy. And he has spoken a lot about journaling in the past. And he is an absolute massive fan of journaling. And I am too. I think it really is a powerful tool to help you making changes.
Yeah, I tried it at your retreat for the first time, and I have never done it before either. It is really good, and I can see how you would get into a really good habit with it. Some questions about exercise, Carola.
Yeah.
If your 45 minutes of exercise, does that need to be in one go?
It should be, because what's happened, the reason why we're going for this slightly prolonged time is that we give the body enough time to increase the blood flow to the brain, and obviously transporting oxygen and nutrients at the same time. So we're looking at enough time to keep everything going and keep it up there for as long as possible. So if you can, of course, every little bit of exercise is better than nothing. But if you can do the 45 minutes in one go, it would be definitely the best for your brain.
Okay. And what about training with weights? I think he's asking.
Weight training is classed as an anaerobic exercise because you're pushing your body for 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then you're resting, and then you're pushing it again. So it's classed as an anaerobic exercise. Great for your body, but in terms of brain health, not as great as the aerobic exercises.
I don't agree with that. What was Wendy? I'm not sure. I don't think I really understand this question. What was the 220 BPM? Is that beats per minute?
Beats per minute.
Heartbeat.
It was 120. 120. I mentioned to get your heart rate at least over 120. It depends a little bit on your age. The older you are, you should have some slightly lower heart rate. But let's just assume that we're all between 30 and 60. Then we can keep our heart rate around the 120, 130. That would be a good indicator for aerobic exercise. It's not 220. Wendy, this is a little bit too much.
There's a question about meditation, which was it's been suggested that you meditate for 45 minutes in 45-minute sessions. That's quite a long time. So what's the kind of minimum amount of time, or the best?
I agree. again, like with lots of other things in the world, the more you do it, the better it is. But I perfectly understand that, especially in the beginning, when you're not an experienced meditator, 45 minutes seems to be quite daunting. I would say that, especially when you're beginning, 10 to 15 minutes is more than enough. And the more experienced you become, and depending on, sometimes it's just depending which app is your favorite app, because I think the Calm app is having at least 15 minutes, Headspace something between 10 and 20, and depending on how far you would like to go, you can obviously meditate for hours if you want to, but not many people have the time to meditate for hours. But to feel the benefits, I would say that 10-15 minutes every day is enough. Some people prefer it directly after they wake up. Other people prefer to go to sleep with meditation. I think you probably benefit the most if you do it directly after waking up. Simply because if you go to sleep with it, your subconscious mind will take everything in, but I think it's sometimes very nice to have your conscious mind taking it in again. I've just seen Elizabeth's question, better time for meditation. I think I prefer it first thing in the morning, but it's down to your personal preference. I would say doing it consciously is a better way than doing it in the evening, where you then just fall asleep and at some point just taking your plugs out. Meditation can physically restructure an anxious brain. This is indeed the case. Yes, I'm probably a little bit careful. I'm not entirely sure if this is going to happen if you do that on your own. But if you work together with somebody who is an experienced meditator or meditation teacher who help you through that, this is definitely the way forward. It's really good. Oh, Duncan. Hey, yes, exactly. Strength training does improve brain function. Aha.
Most definitely. There's a myokine called BDNF, which is actually it's stimulated by strength training, and that protects neurons in the brain and also encourages new growth. So to say earlier that it doesn't, I'm sorry, I have to.
No. Good.
Strength training massively improves brain function.
Aha. Here we go. One to bear in mind. Thank you, Duncan. Very good to know. This is why Arnold Schwarzenegger is so funny. Okay. Do we have any other questions from earlier, which I haven't seen because I was
one
talking?
From Amy, I don't know if you think you've covered this, Carola. How do you start to get into journaling? Got any top tips on journaling? And there was also a comment earlier about people trying to get into a habit and not finding enough time to do it. So any tips on that?
Yes, I think, as I said, in terms of the journaling, I would probably create time in my calendar where you say, I don't know, if you start working at 9 o'clock, have the reminder in your calendar for 8:45 and just carve out these 15 minutes in your day, if you can. If you say, I'll do that every afternoon at 2 o'clock, that is the same effect. I just think it has even more benefit if you do it before your brain engages with the world, no matter if that's work or the news or social media or whatever it is. It's just you and your thoughts about what you're trying to achieve and how you can achieve it.
I think those are all the questions.
Okay. Wonderful. If there is anything which you would like to ask me, please feel free to get in touch afterwards. Again, we said we're going to send out the recording afterwards to everybody who wasn't able to be here today. Thank you very much for being here with me today. I really appreciate that you were here. Thank you.
We'll also a survey in about a couple of days' time, just when you've had a chance to think about what Carola's been talking to you about. So it'd be really great if you could fill that out, and there's an opportunity there to say if there's any other topics you're interested in.
Brilliant. Okay. Thanks for your time today. Enjoy the rest of the week, and I'll hope to see you soon. Thank you. Bye now.
Bye. Do I have to say which one?